Well, hello, school counselors and school counselors to be. Thank you guys so much for coming to my channel, The Inspiring School Counselor. And today we're going to be getting into another viewer's question. And in fact, this is not just one question, it's actually a couple of questions that was asked. And it's actually regarding the last couple of videos that I just posted with me organizing my classroom, which, by the way, you guys, I thank you guys so much for taking the time out to watch those. I really wanted to do it in one video, but I realized the amount of stuff that I needed to do and get done, I was no way going to be able to do it in one video. So right now, I think I have 3 videos up so far, but y'all, it might be the 4th one with me just showing you guys what everything looks like after I change my mind like 30 gazillion times. So be looking out for that. But there was some questions that was asking me, and I'm going to be looking on my laptop, and I'm going to be reading it off because I want to make sure I answer everything. But it's actually in regards to me having a classroom. All right, so let's get into the first question. And it says, I was wondering why you have a classroom versus an office. So the reason why I have a classroom, because when I started this job, which was smack down in the middle of the year, which is January 2020, the school counselor before me was in the related arts rotation. And so with that being said, she was a part of that master schedule. So Monday through Friday, she would have classes from like 10:30 all the way to 2:40 coming in so that she could teach guidance lessons. And so with that being said, whenever I received the job in January of 2020, I took on that rotation. And so I was now teaching classes Monday through Friday. However, I do remember with my administrator, she actually talked to me and she was like, you know, her vision was to get me out of the related arts rotation so that it can free up my time to do more small groups, individual counseling. And so I wouldn't be bottled down with half of my day teaching classes. So I ended up, teaching classes, and of course the pandemic happened, all that crazy stuff happened. And it was August of 2020 where I was able to, me and my principal, we had our meeting, and she was like, you know what, Jasmine, you are not going to be in the related arts rotation. You're going to be, strictly, you can set your schedule. So do your individual counseling, small groups if you can, as well as, teaching guidance lessons, and you can teach you can have it your way. And because it was the pandemic and everybody was just trying to feel their way through and how to make the school stay afloat, I ended up really being very flexible with my schedule. I'm so grateful for my principal allowing me to do that, and she, just helping me to be able to do that, because there was a lot of kids that needed some individual counseling, as well as me pulling them for small groups. I also taught lessons, but like I said, I was able to fix my schedule. And so I think like the first couple of weeks of school, I taught like a lesson with my Mimi doll. And if you don't know about that, I'll put that video in the description down below, as well as the card up above, so that you guys can watch that after this video. But I was able to, teach those lessons, as well as other lessons on like manners and different things like that. But you guys, it was so crazy. It was really hard to keep up because of quarantine, and school might be shutting down, might not be shutting down. It's just a whole bunch of craziness happening. And so I did also do a lot of filling in, just to help the school stay afloat. Even me doing non-school counseling tasks, like it was crazy. So that's pretty much how it went. Now coming into this year, I'm able to set my own schedule with me teaching lessons. But of course, with me teaching lessons, it's better for me to have that classroom setting, and that is because, it gives my own space to be able to teach. So I'm going to go ahead and segue into this next question, and it says, with your current counseling position, are you on the specials rotation, PE, music, art, computers, etc., where you see entire grade level classrooms and are a part of the master schedule? So I am not a part of the related arts rotation. However, and I shared this in a video before, but I will go ahead and touch on it again, because once again, maybe you are new watching this. I am actually pairing up with the library teacher, and I'm going to be teaching classes. We have about 5 classes each grade level, so that allow me to see each class once a month. And so with that being said, I'm able to do it that way and not have to worry about being in the related arts rotation. And two, that frees me up a lot. So if I am teaching a class and let's say I am called because maybe a student is having a meltdown or I have a meeting, I can always tap in my library teacher and she will take on and start teaching her library, lessons. And so it really worked out for me to be able to do that. So another question that was asked, which was, what are the pros and cons of having a classroom versus an office? So I'm going to actually be reading off my tablet because I had to write down some pros and cons. And you guys, if you can add on to this list, please put it down in the comments below because you guys know I want to read them and I know others would like to read them as well. But from just sitting down and kind of just thinking, what is the pros and cons of me having a classroom versus an office? For one, when you're looking at a classroom, it's a bigger space. So if you are one that is teaching lessons, whether it's once a month or maybe you are a part of that related arts rotation, it's just a bigger space for you to hold however many kids that's in each class. Now, when you're looking at it in an office setting, it's a smaller space. So you wouldn't be able to hold classroom lessons in there because it's such a small space. And so you would have to actually go to maybe another classroom or another empty, room in order to hold your classes. Another thing that I can say is with me also being the family resource coordinator. And so I know I showed you guys in the videos prior with me having all the clothes and shoes set up. I'm able to have that also in my classroom. And I probably, depending on, and maybe you can do this in an office setting, but it just gives you a lot more space when you're in a classroom setting where you're able to set it up how you need to. As well as I also have the school store. And so I'm able to also put my school store in my classroom. Now, last year I actually had it on a cart, but now since I'm going to be teaching classes once a month, I'm actually able to have it in my classroom. Or I have the option of putting it back on the cart and rolling it if I want to. But that's just always an option, like I said. So bigger space is definitely needed, especially if you're already teaching lessons. Another thing that I can say about classrooms is, and I already touched on this before, is that you can teach lessons in your space. So it's nothing like being able to have everything that you need and you don't have to worry about transporting it. Usually when you have an office space and you teach lessons, most of the time you're going to have to transport anything that you need in order to carry out that lesson to the next place that you're going to be in. So the next classroom or whatever empty space that you're going to have to, take up. And so with that being said, when you have a classroom, your crayons is there, your paper, your pencils, any type of counseling tools that you're wanting to use is already there in that space, and it makes it a whole lot easier. And I actually touched on another point that I mentioned is that everything that you need is with you. And that's so important because I don't know, there's been times where I could be, I was teaching a lesson or something in the gym last year, but there was things that I could have pulled out and games I could have used, but because I wasn't thinking, and it didn't come to me until last minute, I wasn't able to just go and grab that, and I had to just work with what I had right there in the gym. And so it's just very good to be able to be in a classroom setting where you have everything that you need there with you so that you easily just pull it, and use it, even if it's last minute. And another reason why I like having a classroom is because I can lay out all of my counseling tools. And once again, I showed you guys this in a video prior, but how I have my whole classroom set up. And even though I'm going to be teaching lessons this year, I still have enough space to where I can lay out my counseling tools so that if ever a time I want to just pull it out and grab it and have the kids work on it, I'm able to do that. But in my office, I might have to store, a lot of the stuff and might not have easy access to it because it's stored up in bins or put up on shelves. So that is something that you can keep in mind when you have an office versus a classroom. So that was all the questions that was asked, and I hope that this was able to help you guys. If you have any questions for me, feel free to email me at theinspiringschoolcounselor@gmail.com, or you can just put your question down in the comments below and I will try to get to it as fast as I can. So I thank you guys so much for your time. If you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. All right, I'll see you guys next time.